The blizzard hit like a freight train just as we crested the final pass into the Rockies, whipping snow across the windshield in furious sheets that turned the world white and blind. I gripped the steering wheel of our rented SUV, heart pounding not just from the storm but from the electric silence between me and Chris in the passenger seat. His knee brushing mine accidentally? Or was it? In that frozen instant, as the car fishtailed toward the abyss, I realized with gut-wrenching clarity that the real danger wasn't the ice. It was the secret we'd both been burying deeper than the drifts outside. We'd come to this remote cabin in Colorado's backcountry to escape the holidays' hollow cheer back in Seattle. Me, David Harlan, 42 and fraying at the edges after burying my wife, Chris's mom, to cancer 2 years prior, and Chris, my 19-year-old stepson, home from his freshman year at UCLA, all sharp edges and unspoken storms. The cabin was my half-baked idea of healing. No relatives prying with pitying eyes, no city noise to drown out the grief. Just us, two men forged in loss, chasing some illusion of normalcy amid pine-scented isolation. But as the wipers slapped futilely against the onslaught, I stole a glance at him. His jaw set, fingers drumming the armrest, and felt that familiar twist in my chest, the one I chalked up to paternal worry but knew, deep down, was something far more treacherous. The tires caught gravel at last, jolting us onto the cabin's drive, and I killed the engine with a shuddering sigh. Snow piled against the door as we hauled in groceries and gear, the wind howling like a banshee through the trees. Inside, the place was a time capsule of rustic charm. Stone fireplace crackling to life under my match, leather armchairs flanking a wool rug, and a loft bedroom upstairs divided by a flimsy railing. Me on one side, Chris on the other. He shrugged off his coat, revealing a thermal shirt that clung to his swimmer's build, and I busied myself with the fire to avoid staring. "This storm's gonna bury us," he said, voice low and edged with that California drawl he'd picked up, flopping onto the couch with a beer from the cooler. "Yeah, well, that's the point," I replied, forcing a chuckle as flames danced shadows across his face. No escaping now. He met my eyes then, a flicker of something raw passing between us. Grief? Resentment? Or the same forbidden spark I'd caught glimpses of in stolen moments over the years. Dinner was simple. Chili from a pot, cornbread steaming on tin plates, eaten in the fire's glow while wind rattled the shutters. We talked surface stuff at first. His poli-sci classes, my endless grind as a software consultant. But the alcohol loosened tongues, and soon we were circling the void. Her laugh, the way she'd hum off-key in the shower, the hospital bed that swallowed her whole. Chris leaned forward, elbows on knees, his green eyes glassy. "You ever think about dating again, Dave? Mom wouldn't want you alone like this." The nickname, Dave not Dad, always stung, a reminder I was the interloper in his world. I shrugged, poking the fire. "Not that simple, kid. World's not kind to widowers pushing 40. He snorted, but there was no bite in it. "Bullshit. You're hot for your age. Bet half those baristas at your coffee spot eye you up." Heat crept up my neck, unbidden, and I laughed it off, but his gaze lingered, probing, like he was testing waters neither of us should wade into. That night, sleep evaded me. The loft creaked under Chris's restless turns, and I lay there in the dark, mind replaying fragments. The day I'd walked in on him at 16, towel dropping post-shower, all awkward limbs and budding manhood. The hug at the funeral that lasted a beat too long, his breath warm against my neck. I was straight, damn it, or so I told myself through a string of forgettable dates with women who paled next to her memory. But Chris? He stirred something primal, a confusion I'd shoved into the closet of my soul. Outside, the storm raged on, mirroring the one brewing inside. Morning broke with crystalline clarity, the world a glittering mausoleum of snowdrifts 10 feet high. We shoveled a path to the woodpile, breaths clouding in the -10 chill, our laughter echoing as we pelted each other with scoops of powder. For a moment, it felt like father-son bonding, pure and uncomplicated. But then Chris tackled me into a drift, his body pinning mine. Solid, warm, alive, and time stuttered. His face hovered inches away, lips parted, snowflakes melting on his lashes. "Gotcha," he whispered, voice husky, and I swear my heart stopped. I shoved him off with a gruff truce and retreated inside, cheeks burning worse than from the cold. By afternoon, cabin fever set in. We fired up the old DVD player. Only one disc in the slot. Some forgotten rom-com about star-crossed lovers in the snow. Chris sprawled on the rug, head in my lap as the movie droned, and I froze, my hand hovering before settling on his shoulder, thumb tracing the ridge of his collarbone without thinking. The plot twisted to a confession scene, and he shifted, looking up with those piercing eyes. "You believe in that? Love that sneaks up on you? Changes everything?" My throat tightened. "Sometimes, but it can destroy you too." He didn't look away. Not if you let it in. Dinner that night was venison steaks from the freezer, seared over the fire, paired with whiskey that burned going down. The conversation turned reckless. His first kiss with a girl in high school that felt wrong. The guys on the swim team who'd whisper about crushes in the locker room. I experimented once, he admitted, staring into the flames. Summer camp. This dude from Texas. It was intense. But I freaked. Told myself it was nothing. My pulse thundered. And now, he met my gaze, unflinching. Now, I know what I want. The air thickened, charged like the storm's prelude, and I stood abruptly, muttering about checking the generator. But sleep brought no reprieve. Dreams tangled her ghost with his touch, waking me in a sweat. Downstairs, the fire had died to embers, but a figure stirred on the couch. Chris, blanket pooled at his waist, bare-chested in the moonlight slanting through the window. He wasn't asleep. His eyes found mine in the gloom. Can't sleep either? I nodded, sinking into the armchair, the whiskey bottle between us like a dare. We passed it back and forth, words spilling freer. My own buried doubts, the one college fling with a roommate I dismissed as experimentation. The loneliness that clawed deeper than grief. Then, in a voice barely above the wind's moan, he said it. Dave, I think I'm gay. And it's you. It's always been you. The bottle slipped from my fingers, shattering on the hearth. Time fractured. Shock. Denial. A flood of illicit longing crashing through the dam I'd built. I crossed the room in 2 strides, kneeling before him, our faces level, breaths mingling. Chris, we can't. But his hand cupped my jaw, thumb brushing my lip, and the world narrowed to that touch, electric and inevitable. His kiss was fire and ice. Tentative at first, then desperate, tasting of whiskey and unspoken years. I pulled him closer, hands roaming the plains of his back, every inhibition crumbling under the weight of truth. We tumbled to the rug, clothes shedding like old skin, the storm outside paling against the one we unleashed. His body was a revelation. Lean muscle yielding under my palms, gasps that mirrored my own ragged breaths. In that frenzy, we claimed what we denied. Lips trailing fire down necks, hips grinding in rhythm with heartbeats, whispers of finally lost in the heat. Dawn found us tangled in the blankets, his head on my chest, the cabin hushed under a fresh layer of snow. Guilt gnawed at the edges, but so did a fierce protectiveness, a love reborn in forbidden flames. What now? He murmured, fingers tracing my scars. I kissed his forehead, voice steady for the first time in years. We figure it out, together. But as the radio crackled to life with weather warnings, roads closed for days, I knew the real blizzard was just beginning. The world's judgment, our family's ghosts, the chasm of taboo we'd leaped into. The second day dawned with a deceptive calm, sunlight fracturing through icicles like diamonds on the cabin's eaves. But inside, the air hummed with the aftershocks of our night. Chris stirred first, slipping from my arms with a sleepy grin that twisted my gut, boyish, vulnerable, utterly disarming. He padded to the kitchenette in boxers, brewing coffee with a domestic ease that screamed normalcy. Yet nothing about us felt ordinary anymore. I watched from the bed, propped on elbows, memorizing the curve of his spine, the way his hair caught the light. At 42, I'd convinced myself desire was a relic, dulled by loss. At 19, he burned with the ferocity of youth, pulling me into his orbit like gravity itself. Breakfast was pancakes from a mix, drowned in syrup sticky as our secrets. We ate at the scarred oak table, knees bumping under it, conversation skirting the precipice. Last night, he started, fork midway to mouth, eyes flicking up with a mix of defiance and fear. I reached across, squeezing his hand, calloused from swim strokes, warm against my own. Was real. Don't regret it. His smile broke wide, chasing shadows from his face, but I saw the undercurrent. The kid who'd lost his anchor at 17, grasping for solid ground in a man who was both father figure and forbidden fruit. We suited up for a hike, snowshoes crunching through virgin powder toward a frozen lake a mile out. The forest was a cathedral of silence. Pines bowed under white burdens, our breaths the only punctuation. Chris led, his laughter echoing as he carved trails, but midway, he stopped at a overlook, back to me, shoulders tensing. What if this ruins everything? You're all I have left. The vulnerability hit like a sucker punch. Echoes of the boy who'd clung to me at the funeral, whispering don't leave too through sobs. I pulled him against me, chin on his shoulder, the vast valley sprawling below like our uncertain future. It won't. We'll build something new from the wreckage. But doubt festered as we looped back, the sun dipping low and painting the snow crimson. That evening, cabin fever twisted playful into tense. A board game devolved into accusations. Me teasing his sloppy strategy, him firing back about my controlling life choices. Whiskey fueled the fire, words sharpening to barbs. You think you can just step in and fix me? Like Mom? He snapped, face flushed. I reeled, the comparison a knife to the ribs. I loved her, Chris, but it's not replacement. Evolution. He stormed to the loft, slamming the railing, leaving me with embers and regret. Hours ticked by in the dark. I dozed fitfully until footsteps creaked down. He stood at the foot of the stairs, eyes red-rimmed, clad in that damn thermal that hugged every line. I'm scared, Dave, of losing you to this. I rose, crossing to him, our bodies aligning like puzzle pieces. Then don't push me away. Our kiss reignited slower this time, exploratory. Tongues mapping familiar territory, hands gentler, learning the language of lovers. We made love by firelight, unhurried. His mouth hot on my chest, my fingers threading his hair as he arched beneath me, gasps sinking like a shared pulse. Afterward, curled in the armchair, he traced tattoos on my arm, anchors from my Navy days, and confessed fragments of his hidden life. The Grindr app deleted in panic, the swim coach's lingering gaze he'd fled. Morning 3 brought isolation's bite. Radio reports of avalanches closing the pass, stranding us deeper. We embraced the limbo, chopping wood in tandem, axes swinging in counterpoint, sweat beading despite the cold. Lunch was sandwiches on the porch, bundled in quilts, sharing stories of pre-us lives. My rowdy Seattle youth, his awkward LA freshman hookups that fizzled into nothing. None of them got me like you do, he said, leaning into my side, and the casual intimacy floored me, a bridge over the generational gulf. Afternoon blurred into sledding on a trash lid down a gentle slope, whoops of joy shattering the hush as we crashed in heaps, limbs entangled. Rolling to a stop, his weight atop mine. He pinned my wrists with a wicked grin. Surrender, I bucked playfully, flipping us, capturing his mouth in the snow's chill, hot contrast that sent shivers racing. Back inside, we shed layers by the fire, bodies warming each other in languid exploration. His lips on my thighs, my hands guiding his rhythm until we shattered together, the cabin echoing our release. But nightfall unearthed ghosts. Over stew, Chris probed my past loves, the women before his mom, the one-night stands post-loss. Ever been with a guy? Before me? Honesty clawed out. That college fumbling, buried under straight-laced armor. His eyes softened. Makes us even, then. We climbed to the loft, making the narrow bed our world. Slow thrusts, whispered endearments. His nails raking my back as climax crested like a wave. Sleep claimed us entwined, but dreams twisted. Her face morphing into his, accusations in the wind. Day 4 dawned stormy again, gray skies pressing low, mirroring my mounting anxiety. Phone signal flickered in and out. Texts from my sister back home, probing our bonding trip. Guilt surged. What would they say? What laws of blood and society had we shattered? Chris sensed it, pulling me into a fierce hug by the sink. Stop overthinking. This is us against the world. We lost ourselves in chores. Baking bread from a kit, the oven's heat a bomb, flour-dusted kisses interrupting needs. The storm peaked at noon, thunder rumbling through clouds, lightning fracturing the whiteout. Power flickered, dying with a pop, plunging us into primal dark. Candles guttered to life, casting golden halos as we huddled by the hearth, sharing body heat under a mound of blankets. Stories flowed, ghost tales from camp, dreams deferred. His activism spark for queer rights, my stalled novel on lost souls. Write our story, he urged, head on my lap. The real one. Inspiration flickered, but fear doused it. Exposure meant ruin. As night deepened, the blackout fueled urgency. We made love on the rug, shadows dancing like conspirators. His body arching into mine, cries muffled against my shoulder, a symphony of surrender. Post-bliss, he slept, but I slipped downstairs, penning frantic notes by candle. Fragments of us, raw and redemptive. Dawn restored power, but not peace. The radio warned of worsening roads, our exile extended. By day 5, the cabin's walls closed in like a vice, every creak a reminder of our fragile sanctuary. Chris woke me with coffee and a kiss, his energy a lifeline against the creeping dread. We ventured out for a rescue mission, trudging to the woodpile through knee-deep drifts, hauling logs in a makeshift sled. Laughter bubbled as he accidentally dumped an armful on my boots, retaliation swift with a snowball to his chest. But beneath the play, tension simmered. His sidelong glances, heavy with unspoken pleas for reassurance. Lunch was canned soup heated over the stove, eaten cross-legged on the floor like kids. Conversation veered to futures, his plans for a summer internship in DC, queer advocacy groups buzzing with energy. My remote work teetering on burnout. Come with me, he said suddenly, eyes alight. We could start fresh, sublet in the city, no one knows our history. The vision tantalized. Anonymous walks hand in hidden hand, nights free of pretense. But reality crashed in, my job's Seattle tether, the specter of scandal if word leaked. It's not that easy, Chris. Society doesn't hand out happy endings to guys like us. Afternoon brought cabin projects. Patching a leaky window with duct tape, our hands brushing in the task, sparks igniting to stolen caresses against the cold glass. He pressed me there, fully clothed, hips grinding in frustrated rhythm. Tease more than release, building ache like the storm outside. Patience? I murmured, nipping his ear, but my resolve frayed. At 19, his hunger was insatiable, a force I'd long forgotten in myself. Evening deepened the rift. Over reheated chili, he pushed. Why fight it? Mom's gone. Bless her, but we're alive. This could be our chance. Anger flared, misplaced grief twisting words. You think I haven't mourned? Everyday kid. But throwing away everything for this? It's selfish. His face crumpled, chair scraping back as he fled to the porch. I followed, finding him huddled against the rail, snow swirling like confetti in hell. I'm sorry, I choked, enveloping him from behind. I want it too. God, I do. Just terrified. We thawed inside, apologies melting into urgency. Clothes hit the floor in a trail to the couch, bodies colliding with bruising need. His legs wrapped my waist, nails digging crescents as I drove deep. Our moans a defiant chorus against the gale. Climax left us wrecked, sweat slick and spent. His tears salting my skin. Promise me we'll try, he whispered. I nodded into his hair, resolve hardening like ice. Day 6 broke clear and brittle, the sun mocking our turmoil with blinding glare. We skied cross-country on rented gear. Awkward at first, my legs protesting the unaccustomed burn, Chris gliding like poetry on water. At a clearing, we collapsed against a log, thermoses steaming, sharing a protein bar. Remember teaching me to ride a bike? He asked, head on my shoulder. You crashed worse than me. Laughter eased knots, memories weaving a tapestry of makeshift family. Bike lessons in rainy parks, prom tux fittings where he'd fidgeted, hiding nerves about a date that never sparked. But the idol shattered mid-slide back. Chris wiped out hard, ankle twisting with a sick pop. Panic surged as I half-carried him home, his weight a deadweight reminder of vulnerability. Inside, I iced the swelling, guilt gnawing, our recklessness exacting toll. Stupid, he hissed through gritted teeth, but his hand found mine squeezing. Worth it, though. We doctored in silence, then he pulled me down, kiss turning tender. Exploratory touches, mouth savoring like fine wine. His injured leg hooked carefully as we moved slow, bodies sinking in gentle waves. Release washed pain away, leaving us dozing in fire-warmed languor. Night brought fever, his ankle throbbing, my worry spiking with every toss. I fetched meds from the kit, spooning broth as he rambled fever dreams. Visions of us fleeing to Canada, border-crossing lovers in a queer utopia. We could, I soothed, stroking sweat-damp hair, heart aching at his fragility. As delirium ebbed, clarity sharpened his gaze. Love you, Dave, not like a dad, like everything. The words unlocked something profound, tears pricking my eyes. Love you too, more than I should, but God, it's right. Morning 7 heralded change, plows rumbling distant, roads cracking open. But Chris's ankle swelled worse, stranding us a day more. We adapted, crutches fashioned from broomsticks, me playing nurse with a gruff tenderness that masked terror. Lunch was eggs scrambled lazy, eaten in bed, his foot propped on pillows. Talk turned raw, coming out strategies, therapy for my internalized shame, pride parades he dragged me to. We'll go as a couple, he declared, fierce. Hope flickered, fragile as the candle we'd lit for her memory. Afternoon wild and quiet intimacy. Him sketching in a notebook, caricatures of us as superheroes, capes billowing in blizzards, while I read aloud from a dog-eared Hemingway, voices intertwining like our lives. As dusk fell, desire stirred anew. Mindful of his injury, we explored sideways, his mouth worshipping my length, my fingers curling inside him until he bowed, keening. The peak was shattering, a vow sealed in shudders. Yet sleep evaded, doubts circling like wolves. What of his future, boyfriends his age, unburdened by taboo? My own aging frame, the years he'd outpace? But his arm anchored me, breath steady, and I clung to the now. This man-child who'd cracked my world open, teaching redemption in the ruins. The 8th day, our unplanned extension. unfolded with a tentative normalcy, the plow's distant growl a lifeline teasing rescue. Chris hobbled on his crutches, insisting on helping with breakfast. Bacon sizzling crookedly, toast charred at edges, but his grin made it gourmet. We ate at the window, watching sun gild the drifts, his hand on my thigh under the table. A casual claim that grounded me. "Think they'll name a storm after us?" he quipped, nodding at the receding clouds. I chuckled, but inside, gratitude swelled. For this bubble, however doomed. Morning chores adapted to his limp. I chopped wood solo, him cheering from the porch with mock commentary, turning labor to levity. Sweat cooled quick in the air, sharpening appetites. Back inside, he tugged me to the rug, crutches clattering aside. "Doctor's orders, elevation and friction," he teased, eyes wicked. We laughed into kisses, bodies aligning careful, me straddling, rocking slow to his gasps, hands linked overhead like prisoners plotting escape. Bliss crested soft, a murmur of forever in the afterglow. Post-lunch, cabin stasis bred reflection. We sorted photos from my phone, digital ghosts of happier times. Her at Christmas, radiant. Chris at 10, gap-toothed and wild. Us three at the lake, arms linked unbreakable. Tears came unbidden, his falling on my shoulder. Miss her, but not like before. You've filled the spaces. I held him tighter, confessing my own hauntings. Dreams where she'd approve, whispering "be happy" from ethereal mists. "She'd want this for you," I said, believing it fierce. Vulnerability bonded us deeper, grief transmuting to grace. Afternoon brought a makeshift spa. Hot water from the kettle for foot soaks, my thumbs kneading knots from his calf, inching higher till massage blurred to caress. He arched, moaning low, pulling me up for a kiss that tasted of salt and suds. We migrated to the loft, afternoon light slanting gold, lazy explorations. His tongue tracing ribs, my lips on the hollow of his throat, building to a tandem release that left us boneless, staring at rafters etched with lovers' initials from decades past. Evenings stewed in stew and stories, his high school cruelties, taunts endured in silence, crushes crushed under conformity. My corporate closet, rainbow pins hidden in drawers. "We'll burn it all," he vowed, firelight etching determination on his face. Over dessert, stale cookies dunked in milk, we planned hypotheticals. Telling my sister first, her liberal heart a soft landing. Therapy apps for blended family fallout. Hope edged fear a tightrope walk. Night deepened introspection. Propped in bed, his head pillowed on my gut, we debated names for us. Partners? Lovers? Boyfriends with its boyish ring. Soulmates, he settled, tracing my navel. Desire flickered. Mindful of his ankle, I lavished attention lower, mouth and hands coaxing cries till he spilled, then reciprocated with equal fervor, our symphony hushed by snow-muffled winds. Sleep enfolded us seamless, dreams weaving her blessing into our tapestry. Day 9 cracked the isolation. Ranger's truck crunching up the drive, checking welfare with supplies and news. Roads viable by noon tomorrow. Gratitude mixed melancholy, our haven dissolving. Chris masked it with banter over oatmeal, but his eyes pleaded silently. We packed leisurely, folding clothes scented with us, each item a relic. San Francisco? He suggested, zipping his bag. Queer Mecca, fresh start. The city's allure tugged, foggy hills, Castro streets alive with flags, but Seattle's roots clung stubborn. Morning hike short, his limp easing, took us to the lake, now thawing at edges. Skaters from memory, we traced figure eights in slush, hands clasped for balance, slips ending in embraces. Promise you'll fight for this, he said, breath clouding between us. I pulled him close, foreheads touching. With everything. You're my North Star, Chris. The vow hung sacred, snowflakes anointing it. Back for lunch. Leftover chili spiced with cayenne. He cornered me against the counter, crutches propped, kiss demanding. One for the road, he growled, hands bold under my shirt. We tumbled to the table, urgent and unrestrained. Him atop despite the twinge, riding waves till we crested yelling, dishes rattling like applause. Laughter followed, wiping spills, the mundane magic of us. Afternoon wild in letters. Him penning to his mom's grave, words of thanks and no regrets. Me drafting emails undrafted, stealing for confessions. As sun dipped, we built a final fire, toasting marshmallows on sticks, gooey sweetness mirroring our mess. Talk turned dreams. His law school ambitions for LGBTQ plus rights. My pivot to writing truths unvarnished. Co-author? He grinned. Inspiration bloomed, words flowing unblocked. Dusk ushered tenderness. Bath drawn shallow, sharing suds in the tub, his back to my chest, ankle draped over rim. Fingers wandered lazy, building to size. Release rippling water like echoes. Dried and dressed, we climbed to the loft one last time. Bodies entwining slow. Profound thrusts, eyes locked, whispering mine till oblivion claimed us. The cabin sighing farewell. Day 10 arrived with a whimper. A weak sun-piercing clouds. The ranger's promise fulfilled as plows cleared the final miles. Chris tested his ankle, wincing less. Crutches retired to the truck like defeated foes. Breakfast was rushed. Toast and jam, coffee gulped black. Our touches lingering. Fingertips on wrists, knees brushing in silent solidarity. Ready? I asked, key in ignition, engine rumbling to life. He nodded, hand on my thigh. With you? Always. The drive-out wound treacherous. Chains rattling on ice-slick switchbacks. Radio crackling updates on blizzards past. Conversation flowed easy at first. Playlists swapped, his indie rock clashing my classic blues, but dissent stirred unease. Civilization crept in. Distant rooftops, cell towers piercing pines, the world's glare awaiting. What if they hate us? He voiced, the ghost, voice small. I squeezed his knee. Then we love harder. Their loss. Pit stop at a roadside diner shattered illusion. Truckers eyeing our mirrored rings. A whim from a drawer, whispers trailing as we shared fries. Chris stiffened, fork pausing. I covered his hand openly, chin lifted. Fuck him, I murmured. He relaxed, smirking. My hero. The gesture, small, seismic, fortified us. A rehearsal for battles ahead. Back on highway, snow yielded to slush, evergreens thinning to suburbs. Phone buzzed alive. Voicemails piling. My sister's cheery home safe? Masking worry. Chris drafted a text to his roommate. Vague, trip rocked, big news soon. His thumb hovering before send. Vulnerability peaked. Scared I'll chicken out. I pulled over at a vista, turning to him full. You've got steel in you, kid. Remember camp? That Texas boy? You faced it once. His laugh broke tension. Kiss ceiling packed. Afternoon blurred interstate miles. Denver sprawl swallowing us in traffic hum. Hotel check. Last night before home. Booked hasty, king bed implied. Check-in clerk's neutral smile hid nothing. We claimed the room like territory. Bags dropped. Bodies colliding against the door. Claim you, he growled, stripping urgent. Belt buckles clinking. Shirts yanked. Skin meeting skin in hallway haste. We made it to the bed, frenzy peaking. His legs over shoulders, my name a litany on his lips. Release crashing like waves on concrete shores. Evening outed normalcy's facade. Room service burgers. TV droning news of holiday wrecks. Our feet tangled under sheets. Talk deepened. Boundaries for discretion at first. Private touches, public poise, easing to openness. Pride next summer, he planned, eyes sparkling. You in rainbow chaps? I snorted, tackling him ticklish. Laughter dissolved to slow love. Missionary tender, gazes unbroken. Hips rolling like tides. Climax a shared sob of unity. Morning 11 dawned urban gray. Seattle a flight away. Airport shuttle hummed tense. Security lines tested resolve. His hand brushing mine in the queue. Electric under surveillance. Boarding pass scanned. We settled seats together. Window views of Rockies fading like dreams. Phase 1, he whispered. Head on my shoulder as plane taxied. Turbulence jolted midair, mirroring guts. I gripped his hand white-knuckled, vows silent. Landing grounded us harsh. Rain-slicked tarmac, baggage claim crowds indifferent. Home loomed. My sister's dinner invite, unavoidable. We detoured to his dorm drop-off first. Roommates out, bed unmade. Quick tour, he joked, door clicking shut. Against the wall, we devoured. Fast and feral. His bites on my neck marking territory. Thrusts desperate against cinderblock. Missed this already? He panted post-peak, zipping frantic. My drive home solo twisted knife. Empty house echoing her absence, now layered with his. Texts pinged. His love you call soon. A bomb. Sister's call buzzed insistent. I answered, voice steady. Trip good, but need to talk. In person. Her pause stretched, then warm. About time. Bring wine. Relief flooded. First hurdle cleared. Evening alone brewed stew of emotions. Pacing kitchen, replaying cabin reels. Snow angels, fevered confessions, bodies bared. Pen hit paper, story spilling. Our winter odyssey, raw redemption. Words flowed cathartic, 2000 already, promise of more. Night brought dreams fractured. Blizzards burying us alive, her hand extended forgiving. Woke to dawn light, resolve iron. Dressed sharp, jeans, Henley hugging frame. I drove to campus, Chris waiting curbside, duffel slung, ankle braced but stride eager. Your place? He asked, sliding in. Ours? I corrected, hand finding his. Sister's house bustled festive. Turkey scents, twinkling lights, her hug fierce. Dinner circled casual till coffee, kids abed. Spill, she urged, eyes kind. Words tumbled. Loss revisited. Love reborn unexpected. Chris beside me, hand under table linked. Her tears mirrored mine. Shock yielding to embrace. Your family, always, proud of you both. Relief cascaded. Hugs lingered. Her whisper to Chris. Take care of him, he's a stubborn ass. Laughter sealed it, drive home buoyant. Cabin echoes lingered, but future beckoned brighter. Weeks blurred post-vacation haze into rhythm tentative. Our secret a shared pulse under Seattle's perpetual drizzle. Chris shuttled classes, ankle healing to jogs in Discovery Park. I buried in code, but nights hours, his dorm too cramped, my bed a haven. First sleepover post-return. Him arriving dusk, backpack slung, kiss at door hungry. Missed this, he breathed, shedding coat to reveal skin I mapped anew. Collarbones nipped, chest hair trailed lower. We cooked pasta haphazard, wine loosening laughs, but plates pushed aside for countertop urgency. Him perched edge, legs wrapped, my thrusts deep till bowls clattered to floor. Mornings after wove domestic bliss. Coffee shared black, his head on pillow tracing my stubble. Normal feels weird, he admitted over toast, eyes soft. Good weird, I probed, thumb stroking his. Best. Days strung. Study dates at my kitchen aisle, his poli-sci notes mingling my laptop. Weekend hikes and Olympics, hands brushing trails unmonitored. Intimacy evolved. Lazy Sundays in sheets, exploring kinks whispered. Light bonds with ties, his trust absolute as I blindfolded, senses heightened to gasps. But cracks spidered. Whispers at his campus queer alliance. Who's the silver fox? Drawing stares when we grabbed coffee near. One night, post-meet, he vented over takeout. They assume sugar daddy. Hurts. Rage simmered unfair. I pulled him close. They're small worlds. We're epic. Lovemaking soothed. Slow on living room rug, fire crackling. His body arching trustful under mine. Release a purge of doubts. Workday grind unearthed minefields. Colleagues offhand family man? At lunch, fork pausing mid-bite. Home, I confessed to Chris over beer, his empathy fierce. Out yourself when ready. I'll stand. His support armored. Next team happy hour, I dodged probes graceful, but resolve built. Spring teased blooms, our first public test. Cousin's wedding in Portland. Drive south electric. His playlist thumping indie anthems. My hand on gearshift grazing thigh. Venue lush. Gardens bursting tulips. Vows exchanged tearful. We danced periphery. Bodies close in sway. His whisper hot on neck. Marry me someday? Heart stuttered. In a heartbeat. Hotel suite post-revelry ignited. Champagne spilled on sheets, his mouth laving trails, my fingers curling prostate till he shattered. Then switch, his dominance raw, pinning wrists, pace relentless to mutual roar. Return north fortified bond, but family ripples stirred. My brother's email probing, hearing things. Vague from sister's slip. Call scheduled tense. Chris prepped me bedside, kiss fortifying. Truth sets free. Voice steady, I laid bare. Love's twist unexpected, joy profound. Silence stretched, then gruff. If he's good to you, okay, visit soon. Tears pricked, hung up to Chris's arms, celebration slow. Bath drawn scented, bodies slick sliding, peaks whispered vows. Campus spring fair thrust visibility, him volunteering booth, me support lurking. Teens flocked, rainbows fluttering. One bold kid asked our story, eyes wide at stepdad to soulmate. Applause rippled, acceptance tangible. Night home, euphoria peaked. Loft bed echoes in my room, him riding fervent, nails raking, cries echoing cabin ghosts, evolution complete. Yet shadows loomed, his internship looming summer DC, distance dagger. Over picnic in Green Lake, ducks quacking, frisbee sailing we broached. Visit weekends, he planned, hopeful. Or quit job, follow? Temptation gnawed. Writing gig flexed remote. Thinking on it. Lovemaking lakeside after dark. Blanket muffled. Stars wheeling above, his gasps sinking crickets, release starshot. Month's end crystallized. Sister's barbecue, full circle. Her kids chasing fireflies. Chris grilling burgers dad-like. Post-meal, deck whispers. Her toast to new beginnings. Tears shared. Drive home, his hand mine. Bed welcome tender. Side by side, legs entwined. Rhythms gentle to crescendo, sleep dreamless peaceful. Summer beckoned crossroads, our winter forge yielding steel. Love tempered, unyielding. Summer solstice sun baked Seattle uncharacteristically, mirroring the heat building in our lives as Chris's DC internship loomed 2 weeks out. Morning started tangled. His alarm buzzing rude, snooze bought minutes of lazy thrusts, coffee afterglow. Hate leaving, he grumbled over eggs, fork stabbing. I cupped his face, thumb on lip. Temporary, we'll make it epic. Plans spun. My red-eye weekends, his Amtrak returns. Writing retreat in my future, chasing him east. Packing day gutted, his duffel bloating books, suits crisp for Capitol Hill. I folded shirts meticulous, memories flashing, cabin socks balled hasty. Take this? I slipped a photo. Us porch posed, snow-capped grins. His eyes misted. Kiss deepened, bags forgotten. Against closet door, urgent. Belt unbuckled frantic, his mouth enveloping hot. My hands fisting hair till spill, then floor tumble him beneath. Legs hooked, pace bruising to shared cry. Airport farewell wrenched. Security line snaking, his backpack slung last hug. Call from gate. I choked, foreheads pressed. Love you infinite. Flight boards. I lingered till gate empty, drive home hollow. House echoed vacant, bed cold, kitchen silent. Work blurred, code errors mocking. Sister's check-in soothed. Go visit soon. He's waiting. Week 1 crawled. Nightly FaceTimes, his dorm stark behind. Stories of wonky interns. Queer bar hops solo. Miss your touch, he confessed, voice husky pixels. Cyber intimacy teased, shared showers verbal, peaks synced screens apart. My writing surged. Cabin tale ballooned 5K words. Agent query drafted bold. Weekend red-eye east soul sucked. Layover fog, DC humidity slapping. Metro rattled to his sublet. Door flung wide, arms crushing, kiss devouring. Finally, he gasped, stripping hallway. Bed claimed. Sheets twisting hours, positions marathon. Reverse cowgirl his whim, my hands hip bruising. Then spoon deep, whispers plotting forever. Dawn found us wrecked, brunch dragged. Eggs Benedict greasy joy. National Mall stroll hand surreptitious. Days blurred bliss. His office tours skipped for monuments. Lincoln's gaze approving our bench kisses. Evening's queer scene dive. You street clubs pulsing, bodies grinding anonymous till home. Jealous sparks fueling bed wars, his dominance peaking with silk scarf binds. My surrender total in throbs. Return west rung anew. Plain descent tears hidden. House awaited fuller. His scent lingering shirts, our mugs side by side. Writing hit stride. Manuscript queried. Feedback, raw, resonant. Pride month crested. Local march called. Solo at first. Rainbow flag gripped. Chants echoing cabin vows. Texted him live. Marching for us. His reply heart emoji storm. Mid-July. Bolt. Brother's visit announced. Need to meet this Chris proper. Nerves jangled. Chris flew west impromptu. Ankle story icebreaker. Barbecue backyard tense. Steaks charred. Beers cracked. Talk circling. Brother's gruff thawed slow. Swim tails swapped. My navy yarns. Till deck toast. Family's family. Welcome. Hugs awkward but real. Night sealed. Guest room unused. Our bed threesome free. But post goodnight. Loft love quiet. Muffled moans. Bodies fused grateful. August whisked. His internship wrapping triumphant. Policy paper queer-focused lauded. Return flight landed hugs airport public. First unflinch. Homecoming frenzy. Airport lot backseat teas denied for drive-through. Home devouring. Kitchen counter slick. His cries echoing empty weeks. Peaks multiple. Soaked. Fall loomed crisp. His senior year, my sabbatical approved, writing full, DC move tentative. First campus drop. Dorm buzzing. Roommates ribbing the Dave. Coffee shop post-class. Hands tabletop linked bold. Out, I asked. He grinned. To allies. World next. Thanksgiving circled wagons. Sisters feast expanded. Aunts probing gentle. Table grace included our partners. Nods knowing. Post-pie walks, Chris's arm mine. Family photos framed new. Night hotel detour en route home. Jacuzzi jets masking splashes, his body buoyant. Water-lapped climaxes steaming. Winter crept, anniversary looming, cabin 1 year. Reservation booked same dates, roads vowed clear. Prep buzzed. His thesis queer family themed. My manuscript agent signed, edits heart-wrenching. Life layered rich. Therapy joint, unpacking taboos, gym duos, bodies honed mutual. Eve arrived snow-dusted. Drive up pass electric. Playlist remixed, his hand thigh-high. Cabin door creaked welcome. Fire-lit ritual. Full circle, he toasted whiskey. Bed called immediate. Familiar rug, bodies reverent. Slow builds to frenzy. Names chanted like prayers, release cathartic flood. Morning vista same, but us transformed. Rings exchanged simple, vows whispered eternal. Hike lake thawed full, swims daring cold. Splashes joyful, embraces water warm. Never forget, I said, echoing title unspoken. He smiled, green eyes eternal. Our beginning. Years folded forward. DC our home. His lograd cum laude. My novel Blizzard Bonds, bestseller. Tales veiled but true. Kids came foster. Teens queer lost our haven. Her grave visited tandem. Flowers placed joint. Thanks, Mom. We're whole. In snow's hush, love proved. Not despite breaks, but through. Forged fierce. Forever.